Tax cuts to put America first. As Vice President, you're here to talk about the benefits to Ohio. You outlined them. I want to go back to Representative Mike Pence, who was for a balanced budget agreement against deficit spending. How would he feel about a plan that would add $1.5 trillion conservatively to the deficit?
Well, let me say I couldn't be more proud to be serving alongside a president who's put American jobs and a growing American economy first. And the reality is that by cutting taxes for individuals and businesses, we're seeing the kind of growth represented in the jobs numbers this morning. 313,000 jobs created in the month of February, 50,000 new jobs here in the state of Ohio. A growing economy is going to make it possible for us to deal with the issues of our national debt, to set ourselves on a path of fiscal responsibility. But what President Trump made clear early on is we've got to put growth first, and getting this economy growing again by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation, and making the right kind of investments in our country that will all support the kind of growth and an expanding economy that will meet those obligations for generations to come.
Two stories over the last week seem to drop out of the air. The one last night, the president saying that he would agree to go where no president has gone before in meeting with a leader in North Korea, and the tariffs on steel and aluminum. Did you have any knowledge of either of these before they were announced?
Well, of course, we've been talking about the issue of steel and aluminum tariffs now for over a year. The 232 action that the president announced this year is part of a long-term process implemented and a report developed by the Commerce Department. But the president announced that decision in a way, John, of keeping the promise that he made to the American people.
You were very free trade when you were in Congress.
Well, look, the president and I both believe in trade, but this is a president who believes that while we have free trade, we need to also have fair and reciprocal trade. And when you look at the trade deals that the United States has entered into in recent years, whether it be NAFTA or whether it be tolerating steel dumping in this country by countries like China, the reality is that for too many years, too many countries have been taking advantage of the United States, and under President Donald Trump, those days are over. That's why we're renegotiating NAFTA, and that's why the president took the decisive action that he did earlier this week to make sure that we have a strong and vibrant steel and aluminum industry in this country. As the president said, if you don't have steel, you don't have a country, because our national defense depends on a strong and vibrant steel and aluminum industry, and the president's taken action to preserve that.
On North Korea, Kim Jong-un wants legitimacy. It's one of the reasons he was glad to see his sister sitting with you in the box. You didn't bend, you didn't shake her hand. It's one of the reasons why he wants to meet with the president. Should the president be giving, let's call him what it is, a dictator, this kind of platform?
From the last 20 years, the United States and the world community has failed to prevent North Korea in its headlong rush to develop nuclear and ballistic missiles, threaten our country and threaten our neighbors. In fact, when we were elected, the policy of the United States was called strategic patience. Namely, as a nation, we were simply going to wait on North Korea to do something different. President Trump made it clear from early on the era of strategic patience is over. Under the president's leadership, we've marshaled unprecedented economic pressure and diplomatic pressure on North Korea, all while making it clear that all options are on the table. And in the wake of that pressure, in the wake of a clear and consistent message, North Korea, through emissaries from South Korea last night, communicated that they'd be willing to suspend their nuclear testing, suspend their ballistic missile testing, and they were willing to meet with the United States to talk about denuclearization. And President Trump said yes to that. But make no mistake about it, all sanctions will remain in place. Our maximum pressure campaign will continue until North Korea takes concrete steps to dismantle their nuclear and ballistic missile program and stop threatening the United States and our allies.